this again. That was a bit of a mess. Let's do this again and hope it goes better. It keeps making me go live as a vertical, and that is not what I wanted. And I guess once you go live, you can't switch it back. So unfortunately, I keep having to dip out. So I'm sorry for that, but I think we're better now. I think we got it going on. We got it solved now. It wouldn't be a live stream by me if I didn't like pop in and out at least once before I get it right. I'm just going to hang out and wait for people to show up, but I need to fix the last one. I need to take it out so people don't go to the last one live. Got to delete that. Delete, delete, delete. There we go. Delete. Now let's see if it's better. All right, I think this is better. I think we've got it. All right. Now, that was a bit of a snafu. Every time I try to go live, I seem to go up as like a vertical, not a horizontal. So I keep having to go out and log out and then fix it and come back in. So this is just a bit of a placeholder painting here. I gotta set things up. How are you doing today? Especially those of you on the rewatch. I expect more people probably on the rewatch, but glad to have you here. So thrilled. I thought maybe it would be fun to, first of all, I want to go through and like organize these, just put them in order really quick, maybe take some of the dog hair out. I don't know. What do you think? And then we will put them on a sheet of paper. I don't know what I want to use for this. I want to use loose, sorry, I turned away from the mic. I want to use loose watercolor paper because I want it to be out on my desk. You know what? Maybe I'll do this. Let's see. If you guys have seen my swatching video for my Sennelier paints, this is the paper I used for that. There's probably dust on it. That's why I'm brushing it off. And maybe we can do it on the back. That way, when I'm using Sennelier, I'll know those are on the front. And then we can swatch the Gansi Tambi. And I'm going to talk to you guys all about all this stuff. So I need to kind of put a little note on the front here that says, just so I don't get anything confused. I don't think that's likely, but we're going to do a little note here that says Sennelier paints. I think this was from the 28 watercolor swatch video that I have on the channel. And let's see, we'll flip it over. Let's do a little, well, maybe I'll do the, I don't know, let's see. All right, these are not in order at all, so I think it'd be good, and I don't have any of the names written down. So I'm going to take them out real quick. She says, proceeds to take 500 hours. Let's do this. I'm going to turn them over in the box like this. Oops. Let me turn that down. Sweet. Then you can see with these Sennelier paints, they're all labeled on the back. And that is really a nice quality. So I'm going to just proceed to kind of start flipping them over. And we'll put them back in. The reason for this is that I have just ordered a new set of these, and I'm going to kind of go into talking about why. I've had these for probably over 3 years, And only recently did I just start using them, thanks in large part to Diane Antone Studios. She is a hidden gem. Now, I say hidden with, it's a bit tongue-in-cheek because she has a very, very large watercolor channel. I believe she has something like maybe almost 300,000 subscribers. And she's been uploading near daily videos, or maybe daily all the time, for the last number of years. And I've recently begun doing kind of a deep dive into her channel, and I absolutely feel like it is a gold mine. And I'm going to tell you why. She doesn't know me from Adam. I mean, we have communicated a few times in comments here and there, but we've never really this is the box with the colors swatched from a long time ago. But we've never really talked. We certainly don't have a relationship or anything. I doubt she knows me from a hole in the wall, but I feel like with her channel, going back to, let me just sharpen. I have this pencil. It is a Blackwing matte, and it's nice and, nice and dark. So I'm going to sharpen it so I can write down the color names, etc. This is my KUM long line pencil sharpener. I love this. Anyway, and if you happen to be in here, let me know if the sound is bad or there are any problems, please. And I know it's going to take a little while for people to hop in, but I'm just getting started anyway because I only have about an hour and a half to spend tonight. So I want to get right into it. Anyway, if you go back in her playlist to the very beginning, she used to make a lot of traditional fine art demos, like florals and just the most beautiful loose watercolor paintings. And recently, I would say the last number of years, 2 or more, she seems to have leaned into these more approachable yet just as beautiful and just as beautifully structured paintings. And I just cannot tell you enough how much I've been getting out of her videos lately. And she often, in the last few years, mainly uses the Kuratake paints, and she has just an enormous number of them. I'm sure she has the full like 100 set plus all the little variations of different kinds of colors. And she makes a painting every single video, leaning into different ideas. I'm going to be sorting these as we're talking. Leaning into different things, like, for example, sometimes it will be like, I think we'll go this way with these. Sometimes it will be color theory. Other times it'll be, using shapes and shape language. Other times it will be layering, using pens, using glitter, using just all kinds of things. And they're so creative and just so incredibly good. And I feel like, all right, let's see if we can redo that. Okay. I feel like she is somebody that makes learning very approachable. And that's because she doesn't seem to really define the skills that she's teaching, or maybe she does. I just maybe don't notice. But she doesn't fully go into like, today we're going to learn this. We're going to talk about that. More than that, she just makes the painting and demonstrates these techniques while you're watching and maybe painting along. And during that process, you really learn in real time. And according to her, I had recently dropped a comment to her and I haven't heard back, but just like asking what her history is and her education and like how she came into the field of watercolor and so forth. Hi, Leanna Weber Art. Welcome. I'm so happy you're here. Yeah, we're talking about Diane Antone Studios. I'm sure you may have seen her channel before. Or myself, and the one other person in here are talking about that as I'm sorting my Kuratake paints so that we can swatch them. Anyway, um, so she's not an instructor from what she said, and it seems like I'm just thinking of the rainbow, or yellow or orange, and then we're going to go to what comes after red. We're going to go to purple. I'm like, what does come after red? And then we're going to go to blue, right, guys? Right. Okay. I can't always see what these colors are. I think this is a blue. This is a blue or green. Anyway, she doesn't have a background in teaching or anything, but she's very, very intelligent, and she's excellent at conveying information in a very approachable way. And that's the one of the many reasons that her channel has done as well as it has, clearly. But she sits on the and paints, and she talks in each video about things. I'm gonna see what color this is. What is that? Like a blue? Things in her life. I'm like spitting on my paints. Is that gross? That's a green. You're like, yes, that is gross. Anyway, things in her life, things she's experiencing, and she paints and she talks, and then she refers to the painting a little bit and refers to life a little bit. Is this the black? Let me see. And it's just extremely engaging, and I'm kind of addicted to her videos. That's the black. Okay. So we're going to take the white and the black, and I'll set those up at the beginning. We'll put those there. So we can slide these guys up. How's this going to work in real time? I guess we'll have to. Anyway, I just feel like she is an unmined gem, in that if you start to follow her videos, you quickly begin to build a repertoire of skills and techniques that you didn't intend to build going in. You just thought, oh, I'm going to watch this woman paint and whatever. And it just quickly kind of escalates from there. What a gift to the art community, the watercolor community in particular, she is. So, I had these paints for a long time, and I had never really used them much. I didn't really understand them because they are more opaque by nature, and that is what they're supposed to be. They are a Japanese watercolor. Kuratake is the brand, and they're Gansi Tambi paints. And I don't know a whole lot about the history of these paints, but when I first started painting, they were just becoming popular, or they had been becoming popular for a while. I'm just going to swatch them as we go. This is lemon yellow. And so uh, a lot of people were saying at that time that they're a good budget beginner watercolor. I think that was, gosh, I can't remember her name now. Christy Rice Art was saying that at the time. So I bought them, but I was looking to do transparent watercolor painting. They really didn't meet my desired goal at the time, and I sort of set them aside. And since then, my good friend Susan, creative, oh gosh, I can never remember. She changed her channel. Creative Ambitions Art. It used to be something else. Creative Ambitions Art. Susan had started to really love her own Kuratake paints. And she had inspired me to pull mine out, and I did. And so they were nearby. And then I had fallen down the rabbit hole of the Diane Antone Studio videos, and really had started seeing how creamy and beautiful they were. Coincidentally, around the same time, I had begun learning how to paint with gouache. And I remember, I think it was Susan who had said that these paints are a great oops, I forgot to label it, a great midway between watercolor and gouache. And I thought, you know, now that I've played with gouache a little bit, maybe I should go back and see if I enjoy these more. And boy, howdy, really have enjoyed them more. Like, I can't even tell you. I have been having such a great time with these paints the last few weeks. And I wanted to share that with you guys in case you have a set and you're not really sure what to do with them. Now, my other friend, Evie from Evie Eden, also got some recently and began painting with them. This is cadmium yellow. And so she also, cadmium yellow, is new to these paints and is loving them, it would seem. So I think a lot of us are really like enjoying this reemergence of the paints at this time. I'm going to bring my thing a little bit closer here so you can see what we're doing a little bit better. There we go. And maybe I need to, oops, do this. Whoa, is that too dark? Well, let me just make sure everything's straight. Next is yellow ochre. These are just so vivid and creamy and absolutely beautiful. And I'm loving using them. And if you have them, and most of the watercolor community, I'm guessing you do have them sitting somewhere. So if you do, I would urge you to pull them out. The only complaint I have about these paints, and I don't know if you'd call it a complaint, but the only downside, I guess, as some may see it, is that they do get shiny if you layer them too thickly. Now, I haven't experimented to see if they get shiny if you do thinner layers, thinner and more layers. They aren't really meant to be layered traditionally, but that doesn't mean you can't layer them. You for sure can. But I'll show you in a minute some paintings I've done with them and where they have gotten shiny. And so you can see what I mean, sort of. I hope I'm doing this in a reasonable order. Next is cadmium scarlet. So happy I'm swatching them with you guys. What are you guys up to? How was your week since I last spoke to you? They spell it with one T. My week has been, it's been really good actually, but I had the craziest day today. I'll go into that later if more people decide to pop in. Right now we'll just swatch and kind of hang out. But if there's anything you guys want to talk about, please drop your comment in the comments. Look at these colors. I mean, they're just so vivid and absolutely gorgeous. I've been getting interested lately in folk art, like Israeli folk art. And they lend themselves to that sort of art really nicely. And here I'm just like adding a little bit thicker of a layer. And we can see if that starts to get shiny when it's dry or if it takes even more than that. We can kind of experiment a little bit. Because I had them out of order. And, okay, so I recently ordered the Nouveau set. It's like a 24 color set, I believe. It'll be here Sunday. I'm very excited because I've only ever tried this set of 24 right here. What do we have next? We have Red. That's a descriptive name. Red. Let's swatch Red, shall we? The brush I'm using is an Aqua Elite 1/4 inch. It's called a stroke trait brush. These are great for painting with gouache. I hear my family coming up the stairs. And by my family, I mean my husband and the dog. One of the dogs. The other dog is here. You have two? I'm on the live stream, honey. You want to come hang out with us and swatch some paint? Oh, no, no, thank you. Doesn't sound like your cup of tea. I can't imagine why. Where'd you put Tune? Oh, thank you for bringing her. All right. Tune, you want to get up on your chair? Up on your chair? So this is like a pinky red for sure. It's got a much pinker undertone than the cadmium scarlet. To me looks a lot like a Venetian. No, not Venetian. What am I trying to say? All right, guys, say it out loud in your head. I gotta look at the color so I can remember the name of it. Even though it's my favorite French vermilion. French vermilion. I always forget that word. I don't know why. All right, what do we have next? What do we have next? We have Rose Madder. Rose Madder. If you hear snorting, that's also my dog. That's Tune. Come on, Tune. You want up on your chair, honey? Do you want me to get you up there? All right, you got to sit by your room. Come on, up, up, up. Good girl. That's a good girl. It's raining outside. What's going on? Spring showers and all that. Yeah, Leanne, vermilion is definitely one of my faves for portraits. Do you use it for portraits or for what, or for everything? Oh, Rose Madder. This is a very, very flowery color. Yeah, French vermilion. I was also introduced to that by Susan, Creative Ambitions Art. She shared that paint with me and it's changed my life. It's changed my art making life. This one's a little harder to re-wet, probably because I rarely use it. Bright pinks are not really in my wheelhouse. It's not like I don't like them. I just don't use them that often. I used to try to put it in every painting, no matter what. Yeah, it mixes with everything. And do you notice, I don't know, I noticed that it's that the French vermilion is like, it's supposed to be opaque. At least my version in the Sennelier is. That's the only one I have actually of that paint. Only brand rather that I have in that paint in. But it doesn't act like an opaque color, which is really interesting, I think. All right, last red. You use Daniel Smith. I haven't tried that one. I mean, I have a lot of Daniel Smith paints, but I haven't tried their French vermilion, obviously. I just got done saying the only brand I have it in is Sennelier. All right. Oh, I forgot to write the name. All right. This is Rose Madder Deep. Let me write that down as I balance it on my hand. Rose Madder. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. That's cool. Madder. Deep. Deep. There we go. We're good now. It's not every day that I buy paint. I'm one of these people that feels like I don't like to really be inundated with new art supplies because I only get good at using particular supplies after I've had an opportunity to use them a lot. And I won't use them a lot if I have too many art supplies. That's just something I've noticed about myself. And I want to force myself to become really, really familiar with everything before I move on to like a new supply. And then I just kind of forget. Because I found that once you really get familiar with your art supplies, you can do so much more with them that at least I find that I really don't need all that many new things. Not counting paper and refills and stuff. Hello, Susan. Welcome. So happy to see you. It didn't tell you that I was live. Oh, you ate enchiladas. Now I'm envious. Yeah, I'm glad I texted you because I knew it probably wouldn't. Leanna said, I heard a while back of an old master who put it in everything. I wish I could remember who it was. LOL, old brain. Yeah, I have old brain. 24/7 old brain. All right. Oops, I just picked up a green. We're going to go from the pinks to the purpley class. So we're going to go to ultramarine pale. Ultra, oh, that's the wrong pencil, you guys. Whoa, what's happening? Ultra. I didn't know this was ultramarine pale. I've been using these for, like, as I already just talked about, for a while. And in my mind, I created classes of colors that these belong to that they probably didn't belong to. So who knows? Look at how pretty that is. I think I thought it was like a lavender color or, but I mean, yeah, it's ultramarine pale. I can see it now. I think I need new water. I have 2 cups of water, but the other one is a little bit further away and I'm having to like really reach for it. Anyway, Susan, you'll have to go back and watch because I talked a lot about kind of what inspired me to start using my Kuratake paints, and you're one of the inspirations. But they've been kind of like art changing. I want to say life changing, but we'll just say art changing. Trying to layer them a bit here so we can see if they do get that shininess or not, or how far we have to go with the layers to get them to be a little shiny. All right, let me switch these waters around at least so I'm not having to reach so far. How about we do that? Tis better. All right, now what do we have next? I think this is, let me test this. Okay, that's the next purple, E1. Or I guess we should go to blue. No, we should go to purple, but that's why I put that in that order. Right on. I had my full circle with those paints. I really like the pan size. Yeah, I do like the pan size too. And I was just saying I just ordered the Nouveau set, Art Nouveau set, because I'm loving them so much that I finally I'll put the name in a second. I finally have a reason to want to get more of them. So I am going to, they should be here Sunday. I just ordered them last night as I continue to dip in the same water, even though I moved a water closer. Old brain, as we were saying, right? Oh, I'm like making this so skinny, I'm not going to have room to write the name. I'll make it work, girls. I will make it work. There we go. Yeah. And Susan, I was talking about Diane Anton, her channel, and how I just have fallen in love with her channel of late. And her like storytelling and her paintings and how she educates people, myself included, in her videos without making it seem like you're like learning something. She's just painting and chilling, and then at the end you're like, oh, I learned shape language, or I learned layering with, or I learned a color story that's interesting, or how to make organic versus inorganic shapes, and how to do water control better. And I just have found that she is really a diamond in the rough, in that it could be easy to mistake her channel for something that wouldn't really serve a painter that has a fair bit of experience. But I think it is the opposite. Plus, she uploads daily. I think it's daily. It's pretty close to daily. And they're decently long videos, so you can really just sort of lose yourself in the story and painting with somebody else, which I love. But also, if you go back in her old catalog, she has, whoops, this is just plain ultramarine. She has a ton of more technical, professional style, loose floral paintings and things of that nature that are not the style that she's making more recently, but she has like years of those videos. Ultramarine, can I spell? And I had no idea. So I think that, yeah, sorry, I say who that is again. I blocked out the thing with my reader. Oh, sorry. I didn't see it come through twice. How is it even possible to upload so often when I can't even figure out how to upload once a week? Dude, that's what I'm saying. Big ups for her. Major props because well, what she does, and this is her thing, as I've been watching a lot of her content, I've sort of figured out what she does, and it's a wise thing that she does. Many of us with channels can learn from this. She looks through the internet. She looks seemingly at her own art. She looks at other people's art. She sees what inspires her. She sits down and she makes a painting, not by any means like stealing from anyone else, just, as steal like an artist. She iterates off of ideas other people have had, or like she says, she iterates off of ideas that she's had in the past. And she makes a demo painting, sits down and does it. She selects all the colors, she selects the painting and what she's going to do, and then she paints it. Um it seems like one day, and then from what she says it's like yesterday, she'll say often, or earlier or whatever. So sometime before her video goes, then she sits down and she almost as if she's live, and maybe she is live sometimes. It could be that she's live. I'm not actually 100% sure because I'm always watching it on like replay crews. So I apologize if I'm getting this wrong, but be it that she's live or she's not, she then paints again the painting that she made like earlier or the prior day. But she's already done the hard work because she's already practiced the painting. She's chosen the colors, obviously, because she practiced it. She knows what she's trying to get out of it. And then she sits down and, let's see, turquoise blue, and does it again. So usually, like often it'll be better the second time, or sometimes in my case, it'll be worse. But she also makes art that is very beginner friendly in that it's approachable for a beginner if you were to follow the steps and use the colors that she's using. But from another level, it's appropriate for advanced or middle of the road painters such as myself, where I have a fair bit of experience, but I'm still learning all the time because I can sort of iterate off of what she's done, maybe choose my own colors. I mean, anyone can, but maybe it's a little bit easier than when I was a beginner to do this. Um, you can, I just will like choose my own colors, but just watching how she puts the whole painting together, the composition, and she talks her way through it, but that's not all she's talking about in the video. She's chatting about her life and like everything going on and just sharing stuff. So she's creating relationships with her viewers, which is the most important thing to me about YouTube and such a smart thing to do. And she's actively helping them grow their skills, and she's also growing her own painting skills and also finding a way to enjoy painting daily on camera, which, dude, huge props to her for all that. I mean, she's clearly a businesswoman. She's put together a way of doing things that is something she can replicate day after day without too much stress. And then, oh, I guess she doesn't go live because from what I understand, hi, my life in the desert. Lovely to have you. So happy to see you. And now I'm going to forget is it Adrian? I think it's Adrian. Tell me if I'm getting your name wrong. You tried using Kuratake like gouache and I was unhappy with it. May try it more like watercolor, though I'm horrible with, well, I don't know if it's possible to be horrible with watercolor, but it definitely does feel like it's out of control when we're new to it. Oh, I got your name. Okay, good. I'm so happy. Now I'll probably forget again in 5 seconds because that's how my brain works. But please, please, please don't be offended if I do. Okay. Anyway, mm, 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 mm. I just needed some water. What was I saying? I was just talking earlier about Adrian about painting with Kuratake after like learning the tiniest bit of how to paint with gouache and remembering that Susan, I believe, had said that it's similar to gouache. I'm just seeing what color this is. That's a blue too. Okay. And that I thought maybe I would like it more. Well, you can, if you're at all interested in the story, which maybe you're not, but you can certainly, you're welcome to go back after the live stream and watch sort of the beginning. And I talk about sort of how I came back to these paints. And ultimately, what I was just talking about with Diane Antone Studios channel and how it's her channel that inspired me to really get back into them lately, though Susan, our good friend, creative ambitions art here, um, inspired me to pull them out a few months ago when she was using them. Indigo, I can't spell and talk at the same time. When she was using them. And anyway, point being that everybody sort of collectively led me to them again, and I am deeply loving them again, or loving them for the first time after not really understanding them in the beginning when I was new and I had seen Christy Rice talking about how these are a really good beginner friendly paint back like about 4 to 5 years ago. And that had led me to buying them, but I really didn't know what to do with them because I was looking to use. I just got a dot of blue on there. I should have let it just dry. Because I was wanting to do transparent watercolor only, and because of the style of these, not because they're cheap, but because of the way they're used as a Japanese watercolor, they are by nature quite a bit more opaque than Western watercolors. So I had put them on the shelf for a couple years, and then Susan had inspired me to pull them out, and then Diane had really inspired me to pull them out when I saw all the multitude of drawings and paintings she was doing with them, and just how incredibly versatile they are. So I just went and ordered a new set as a result, and that'll come Sunday. And I cannot wait to use the new set when it arrives here on Sunday. And I get off of work Sunday night. I'm diving in Monday to play in with these paints. All right, maybe let me keep forgetting to write the name on the top. Now I forget the name. I just looked at it like 1 second ago. Turquoise Green Deep. I really do think, and Susan, remind me if this is something that you told me or if I heard this. Well, you won't know if I heard this somewhere else, but you'll know if it's something that you told me. Turquoise Green Deep, is that what I just said? Green Deep. I think that you said, and I would agree if it was you who said this. Well, if it was whoever it was that said this, I agree. But anyway, you get my point. They are an excellent sort of middle point between watercolor and gouache. And I know that, Adrian, you're saying that you don't find them like gouache at all. And I could see if I was a real gouache painter, I wouldn't probably either because they aren't fully opaque enough to act like gouache and they aren't fully transparent enough to act like watercolor if you're trying all the new watercolor like techniques and stuff. But I think given that I'm a watercolor artist, they are a step up in opacity, just enough that I can layer them a bit more and get a different sort of effect, which I'm going to show you guys here in a minute when I get to the when I get done swatching them. I'm going to show you some paintings I've done with these um and how I've been using them and how I've used them in the past as well. This is like a phthalo green for sure, obviously. It's just so deep. Let's see. No, I think it was me that said that, but I no longer concur that they are LOL. They are their own thing. For sure. No, I agree with your statement that they are their own thing. But I mean, do you feel like they could be like a middle way between watercolor and gouache? Or just like not at all? That they share some properties of each, so they allow you to kind of dip your toe in the water of gouache, maybe? Hold that thought. I have to change my waters because they're both so cloudy. This one especially. I'm not used to working with such cloudy water. It's freaking me out. I think I have like a bit of a, obsessive compulsive issue with waters being clean. Just 1 minute. I'll be right back. Hold please. Hold please. 30 seconds. I'm so sorry. What kind of a person like pauses out on their own live stream to get clean water? How dare I? Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. All right. Well, not really. They definitely more toward watercolor. Yeah. You couldn't. And then Adrian says, I couldn't build with them light on dark. No, I think you cannot do that like you can with Holbein gouache. So like watercolor, you have to know what you're doing. You can't easily fix mistakes. Yeah, they're definitely more toward. Absolutely agree with both of those things 1000%. I haven't tried layering them exactly like that with a dark and then a light on top. Though a little bit I have with like using the white to thicken and increase the opacity in the color and then using it to, let me show you this really quick. We're going to pause on the, I'll show you what I mean. Like here I did do it, but you know, like these are darker colors. And then this is an older painting, but I guess I went over with dark. Never mind. That's not a really good example. Okay. We're going to look at these eyes that I played with last night. I'm just going to show you the uppermost eyes. Let's see. Oh, that's too much because I'm working on some other ones beneath. But like I was able to put the whites of the eyes and the stuff in. The stuff? What is the stuff? All right, I was able to put like I was able to lighten the whites after I'd made them dark and then add that like lower highlight in the bottom or the lighten the color in the bottom of the eye where the light reflects and then add a light reflection dot. But no, I didn't really put much light over dark with these, so that's a bit of a but I think you can use the white on top. Not exactly like gouache. It kind of leaves this weird like water effect, but I kind of like the way that looks. I think it's cool. So, all right, let's go back to what we were doing. Where was I? What a mess I'm making. You guys, I am a very messy person, just inherently. That's just the way I am. All right, we're part way through the swatches. We're getting there. Let's see. Elizabeth, you have not tried Kuratake yet. Are you interested in trying them at all? Or are you like, cool, I got my stuff that I'm doing? Maybe I'll get them back out and try again. I tried a watercolor landscape last weekend and had to fix it all with pastel. Yeah, but have you guys noticed? I mean, it's such like a mindset shift, I know, but like sometimes when you fix it, yes, it's not creating at all what you were going for. And that's the part that sucks because your brain's like, this doesn't look like what I wanted. So this is a mistake or an error or I didn't achieve the goal. But have you ever noticed that when you mess up with watercolor, because at least for me, I always have this very kind of like one-to-one translation of like what I want to see in my painting. And when I go to paint, I remember watercolor, and this is like every time I've only pretty much ever painted in watercolor, but watercolor can't make it look the way it looks in the photo or in real life or whatever, but it can make it look really cool. So what I notice often happens is this. I will go to make something. I push it and push it and push it. I feel very frustrated because I'm like, that does not look like this photo. And this photo is what attracted me. And why can't I make it look like that? And I get really like kind of down on my skills. Then I walk away from the painting session and come back a few hours later or the next day, and I'm like, damn, that's a cool painting. And I forget what it was that I was attempting to achieve with the watercolor that is really, I'm just splashing green everywhere. That's really not achievable in most cases. No matter what your skill level is, you're going to achieve something a little bit different with watercolor than what you could achieve, say, with like colored pencils or acrylics or oils, of course. But if you look at it for what it is, dude, I'm splashing water everywhere. If you just look at it for what it is, often the art piece is extremely beautiful and just isn't what you had in your mind. And then it takes all the joy out of the end piece if we can only see it as how it's different from what we set out, quote unquote, to do. Now, there are tricks to work around that, and certainly skills can be built and it can improve, and you can really get things to be rendered a lot more realistically and whatnot. But I don't think that's the joy of watercolor, at least for me. I mean, I can use it to render very realistically. Um, but the freedom of using watercolor just the way it shines the best is the most exciting part of it. So I'm trying to learn to just like let go of the preconceived, I just keep making this worse, preconceived ideas of how I want it to be and just accept what it's giving me. And I find that that's better. Now, that doesn't mean, and what I was referencing that to, Adrian, is that like if you quote, fix your piece and add pastel to it, I bet you walk away with a really gorgeous watercolor slash pastel mixed media piece. Yes, it wasn't probably what you were looking for. And yes, it's important to get closer to what you're looking for just so you can know that you can achieve that in time. But I would encourage you from one burgeoning artist to another. I mean, I'm sure you're probably less burgeoning and more experienced, but I am burgeoning. Um, that if we miss out on the beauty of what it's giving us, just because it doesn't look like what we expected or sought to do, then we really, really miss out on the joy of using watercolor specifically. So that is just my little 2 cents. Dude, I forgot to write the name because I was babbling and flapping my lips too much. All right, hold on. Susan says, oh, you're interested. Elizabeth says she's interested in the Art Nouveau set. Yeah, that's the one I just bought. I'm really excited. It was very affordable. It was like $31 on Amazon. And Susan says, I remember there was a little effect on the computer or phone that could take a regular photo and do a watercolor effect. That's what I try to keep in mind when copying a photo reference. That is so smart, dude. I do remember that. And I actually have a photo of myself. It's not, is it the posterize or is it a different version of like one of those things? Because I have one that's in posterize and it's the coolest looking photo. And I thought to myself, I'd love to be able to paint that. And that's pretty much what we do in watercolor. That's a really good point. All right, now let me spell this and squish it in here because there's like no room. Malachite. I had to say it in that high voice because you can see it's squished there. It had to get really small. Okay, sorry. Um, Adrian says, I think you're right. I'm approaching watercolor with the wrong mindset. I start with pure anxiety because I can't control it. And I'm trying to control everything in a yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say you're having the wrong mindset, but I think that it is a mindset that can lead to making the art process a lot less enjoyable, and that sucks. You guys, there's so many greens in this set. There's like way more greens than anything else. I'm realizing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 8 greens, which is great because I love greens, but probably because you're really not supposed to mix these paints. So it makes sense that they would want to give you a lot of greens because you have to kind of mix to achieve greens if you're just gonna. So maybe that's why. What do you guys think? Sap. And I know that that sounds like, well, shouldn't you have known that? Like, I haven't swatched these before, except just in the lid, like 4 years ago when I got them. So I just sort of pick them up and use them as I go. I haven't counted out how many of each there are and stuff like that. All right. And I'm probably not going in the right order. I'm definitely not going, I don't think, from like cool to warm, but that's okay. It's in the right family, right, guys? We're just happy that I'm not just babbling endlessly. All right. There are enough of you in here that I can tell you about today, this morning, if anyone wants to hear. So, all right, 2 quick things. First, I woke up and I thought I had a toothache, but it wasn't like a toothache, but my tooth was, or my cheek was like throbbing in this weird place. So I was like, oh, could that be like this is a gorgeous color, by the way, sorry. Could that be a toothache? And I laid there in bed for like an hour, which is really dumb, but I was really tired. And so I just laid there feeling my tooth and going, it would go like throb, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, throb. It was like a beat, but it wasn't my heartbeat. So I'm like, what is that? Is it throbbing? Is it doing something else? What is happening? And I have such a bad history with like tooth problems and stuff. So I was like, oh, I do not want this to be a tooth problem that's going to go full blown like over the weekend when my dentist is, not working. So I called, and so I was like laying in bed dreading calling to make an appointment. And finally I was like, okay, I have to get up and take a shower and like, call and make an appointment. But I really didn't want to. Let me just sharpen this really quick. And anyway, so as I'm like sitting there in the kitchen, like waiting to call the dentist, sort of like, do I call? Do I not? Because I didn't have an official toothache. I just thought it might become one. And my jaw had been a little sore yesterday too. So I was like, maybe it's maybe it really is something. I don't know. So I like, all right, what's this next color? Sap green light. So I was standing there kind of making my coffee and prepping my vitamins and my creatine and all that stuff. And my phone rings and I'm like, huh. And I have a block on my phone. So it only goes through if it's like something that's a legit thing that I can read what it is. So I see it ringing, just so happened to be in front of me so I could see it. And it says such and such sheriff department, like for my town. Mm. So of course I'm worried that it could be like something happened to my husband or my son or whatever. So I answered it right away. And they're like, yes, this is Sheriff whatever, whatever from whatever sheriff's department. And is this, Tim McCraw, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay, well, can you tell us why you didn't show up for jury duty on April 15th? And I was like, I didn't know I had jury duty. Anyway, they're like, yep, you did. And they're like, do you remember sending back the documentation signed that said you would attend jury duty? I was like, I definitely did not, because let's just say that's not how I do things. I would never do something like that and forget. So I was like, and they're like, and you can be sure of that? I'm like, I can be sure of that. And they're like, well, you are, you've been charged with two like felony counts of evading your jury duty thing. Hold on. Susan says, oh my gosh, this happened to me about a month ago. I almost had a freaking heart attack. They tried to extort $3,000 from me. Oh, they hung up on you. Oh my gosh, dude. So right away, okay. So I could tell by the way he was saying it. Like my fear went up right away because I was like, something's wrong with my husband or my son or like a family member or whatever. And as soon as I'm just closing my windows, sorry, one sec. As soon as I knew that it wasn't that, I was like, okay, anything else that's happening with like the sheriff's department, I don't give two poops about because I know I'm not breaking any laws and I know that like I didn't like do anything. So, right, but you still freak out, right? Yes, I get it totally. So I was like, I had gone from like a little stressed at first to like pretty calm. So I was really just listening to him. And the way that he was reading the thing to me sounded very scripted and like very unprofessional. Elizabeth says, I like the malachite and the ultramarine pale. Oh, yeah, yeah. Malachite. I like these lighter colors. Agreed. Those are my two favorite colors in this set, which is why I think I'm going to really like the Art Nouveau set so much. So if you ever decide to get it, Elizabeth, you should definitely get that because a lot of the colors are like this. Oh my Lord, it's so sad that they would do this. I miss jury duty for real. They don't even call you. Yes, exactly. I've missed it. I've missed like going and they have sent me a letter and I've had to like go to my local town, city hall and be like, I'm so sorry. They're like, that's okay. Let's re-sign you up. Like it was never malicious. I just had forgotten or whatever. Anyway, so the guy's reading the thing and it's just like so there's sap green deep, sap green light, and this is sap green. There's a lot of stuff. So I was like, oh yeah. And every time I would answer a question, he would go, okay, 10-4. And I'm like, bro, I worked in emergency medical services. You don't say 10-4. That's like not even a thing. And we talked a lot with the police, via radios and stuff. Um, you never say 10-4 for like something like this. Like police don't do that. At least not back in the day when I was doing it, when I was working in that area of medical, in that area of the medical field. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry. So that was suspect. And the guy, I couldn't really hear him very well, and I would ask him to repeat things. Anyway, so you guys kind of obviously yes, this is a scam. And I was like, yeah, this is a scam. But at first he goes, So what you need to do is present yourself to the such and such sheriff's department, and they're going to have to, he says this, he goes, they're going to have to, um, what did they say? Oh my gosh, like hold you, fingerprint you, strip search you, and then you may have to serve up to 6 months. And I'm like, bro, for a missed jury duty? And he's like, yeah. And now let me stop you right here and explain that we are enlisting a gag order on you. So from this moment on, you can't tell anyone that we're calling you about this. And that's because you missed this jury duty date, and it's about this federal case, and the case is now ongoing, and the judge is upset because the case has been put on, had to be delayed because you missed your jury duty. I go, dude, hold on. So you're telling me I missed jury duty where they just pick the jurors. They weren't even starting the trial, but where they pick the jurors, and I was already assigned to a jury, and because of that, they've had to put a federal case on hold because I didn't show up, one possible juror out of however many alternates and whatever. And they're like, yes, this is a very serious issue. And Judge so and so, so, so. I was like, bro, I go, do you have a supervisor I can talk to? And then he puts me on the phone with this other guy. Oh my gosh. Yes, I know. I should have, Elizabeth, I should have just hung up. But I was like, part of me wanted to see where it went. And so, and I totally knew it was fraud, but also I was like, I don't want to be what's the word, like prideful and be like assuming immediately at 100% it was fraud. I want and then get myself into some kind of trouble or not realize that like I did in fact miss doing something, and I was just not fully understanding what they were saying, because they were purposely, as I reflect on it now, speaking to me really quickly so that I would not be able to track like all the information at once. And I'm like quickly jotting down names and things they're saying, right? And he goes, yeah, and oh gosh. He said, on the way to the sheriff's department, when you go to turn yourself in, you need to know that if you get pulled over, you will be detained and they will immediately arrest you because you do have 2 warrants out for arrest, and you will have to then be held in custody for up to 6 months because you will be assumed to be running from the law because you're driving somewhere and they can't prove that like you're driving to the sheriff's department. I'm like, bro, like I've watched enough true crime to know that that is not how it works, and also that like typically they don't call you to let you know that you have a warrant for your arrest. If you have a warrant, like the idea is just to arrest you, I think, not to like give you an opportunity to run away. Like the whole thing was super sus. And pardon this the way I'm telling the story, because I'm telling it quickly and I'm on a live stream, so I'm a little bit like it's a little hard to like compose my conversation with what I'm doing with my hands and also trying to read the comments and stuff. So I apologize. If I was just sitting down one to one, I'm sure I'd be telling this in a much more consistent way, but bear with me. Anyway, um, so then he goes, okay, wait, let me read this comment. The one who called you, Susan, said they had a signature from me, and that if I wanted to prove it wasn't me, you had to get fingerprint. Yes, that is what they said. They said that I had missed the jury duty, but I had signed a form saying I would. Oops, I just clunked my eraser in there. That I would be at the jury duty, and so because of that, it is now fraud because I had signed saying I would be there, and I didn't show up, and hooker's green. And so, and then he's like, have you ever had problems getting your mail? I'm like, yeah, all the time. As Susan, you know, because we've exchanged mail, right? You know, I've told you many times that's so hard to get mail here. Like it always gets lost or takes forever or whatever. Anyway, so I did say that. He goes, well, now the situation is more important because it sounds like somebody has read your mail and they have signed your name, and so now they are going to be under arrest for fraud as well. So we need to scan your signature and blah blah blah. And you thought your old roommate screwed you. See, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh well, if somebody did do that, that was the very beginning of the call, probably for you too, right, dude? And I was like, so if they did do that, I really do need to solve it. And that's how they hook you, man. It's like, oh, I'm so pissed. I mean, I'm not really pissed. I'm more than anything, I'm amused, but I'm very pissed for people, and I know two of them well who have actually fallen for this scam and have almost paid out money before their intuition or the Holy Spirit or whatever told them, hey, this is wrong. And they pulled back and didn't do it. But yeah, yes, exactly, Elizabeth. People are spending, my husband and I were just talking about that. Can you imagine if that is your job to spend the whole day calling people like little old ladies and people that don't have money and people that are like, already scared and overwhelmed with life in general and trying to make their life worse, make them terrified. Yes, older people, exactly, Elizabeth, they'll fall for it and they will. And that's what it was just making me so sick when I realized it. I'm like, oh, how can you live with yourself? This is your job is to do this. Like it's just they're in desperate need of prayer and salvation, in my opinion. These people are really in a dark place. The people that are propagating this fraud, because what does your life have to be like for you to be greedy enough to hurt other people in that kind of a way to get money for yourself and be able to just like live with it? And I think also to like enjoy it. They seemed like they enjoyed it because there was another level to this. You told him you were blind and lived in public housing and that he would have to arrest me and take me in because I had no freaking money. That's when he hung up. Oh my gosh. At that point, had you figured it out, obviously? Or like did you figure it out when he hung up? Were you like, oh yeah, I love this olive green. That's terrifying. And those MFers that they did that to you, I mean, just because I love you, and that just breaks my heart. Like, when you hear it, something happens to you yourself, and you're like, it's okay, like it was whatever. But like you hear somebody is almost defrauded, or somebody tries to defraud somebody you really care about, and then you're just like, no, jerks, I'm gonna put a stop to this, like whatever. So yes, totally. Um, I'm just like thinking about, okay, so I told him to put on his supervisor, and he did. And oh, yes, it took you 5 hours with the adrenaline rush. Yeah, that's exactly what I said to my husband. I said, the reason people don't realize it is because they think somebody's screwing with them, or they think it's something they did like a long time ago, or they're going to get in trouble or whatever. They forgot, like you thought maybe your old roommate did something. And I thought like maybe my neighbors had like just signed it thinking it was them. And now or maybe trying to screw me over. Who knows? They play on the fears that we have, which is really gross. And that's why I feel like it's super demonic, because it's like anything that plays on fear is like, because we're called to like have peace and not to be fearful and not to be worried. So stuff that's like the opposite. I mean, obviously it's evil. That goes without saying, but like a further level of it being almost like a demonic kind of evil. So, oh my gosh, yeah. Yes, they want to scare you, because when you're scared, you can't think critically. And that's the thing. And they know that. And this is where I'm getting to that, because after I wasn't like too much freaking out with the first guy, he put the second guy on the phone, and that was like the supervisor. And I was like, "Hey, I can't hear you." And he's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm on my headset. What did you want?" And I'm like, "I just need you to please reiterate everything that your partner just told me," because he was speaking so quickly and I couldn't fully understand what he was saying. He goes, "Miss, that isn't my job to reiterate everything. If you have a specific question, or my partner didn't do a good job confirming something to you, you need to tell me exactly what that was, and then I will reiterate that." I said, "Wait a second, you guys are calling me. You're the ones who are notifying me of my many warrants for arrest because of not going to jury duty, as if." I said, "So if you want me to come up with everything he said just to reiterate it, that's insane." And then he started yelling at me, and he's like, "It's insane. Oh yeah. Oh, did I said, you sound pretty mad. Are you okay? Do you like need help or something?" And he's like, "I'm not mad. I'm not mad." I said, "Can I ask you a question?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Why does your phone number come up as like Macon, Georgia, or like Macon County or something?" And he's like really quiet for a second. He doesn't say anything. I said, "And what city are you calling from?" and he reiterated my city. And I was like, oh, okay, just checking. And then I said, okay, can you hold on? Because uh, when I asked you to, when I asked your partner to put the supervisor on the phone, I had called the such and such police department, which is in my town. I said, and I have them on the other line. I'm going to three-way us in because this guy kept saying to me he wanted to reassure me that in fact he was calling from my police department. So I'm like, I'm going to three-way you guys in so you can touch bases. And I'm just getting ready to turn myself in at the sheriff's department. So, and as soon as he heard that, he hung up. And I actually had been on the phone with the police department. I had called my local police department and I explained what happened. Right away, she goes, it's a scam. She's like, don't worry. I'm like, I was 95%, but I wasn't 100%. And I really didn't want to like overlook something that was of a legal nature that needed to be taken care of. And she goes, yeah, it's a scam. She goes, don't ever give anyone over the phone like Bitcoin or money or anything. And I said, they didn't even ask me for money. And that was honestly the one and only thing that made me feel like it might be um not a scam on some level. Cause I was like, what's their angle? They want me to go turn myself in. I'm like, and all this is happening so fast, and this is part of their ploy, obviously. It's all happening so fast that I can't possibly think it through that fast, and they know I'm old, they probably only call people that are old. A young person might have a brain that worked quickly enough to think that fast about something totally unexpected in their life, but that was not my life at like 8 in the morning or whatever time they called. So, needless to say, she was like, no, no, don't worry about it. I said, they didn't ask me for money though. And she goes, they would have. She's like, they would have. You would have been like telling them you were going to go turn yourself in, and they would have said, oh, we see here that actually the police are on their way. So if you want to avoid that, you can do an over the phone payment of XYZ and we'll call off the police or whatever. She's like, it would have gotten there, but they didn't have an in yet. They'll just keep talking to you until they get one. And I was like, oh, okay. Susan said, this is the same week. I actually got a loan for, oh my gosh, $3,000. People can look at your activity. He asked me if I could get a loan to pay the fine. Are you kidding me? How can they look at your, I guess it's public. Is it public when you get a loan? That, so he knew he could get money out of you or he could have you access more money if you had done it before. Dude, that, I just feel like all this information that we have is like on the dark web, and that is, I think we just have to be super vigilant and super discerning because, with this, the way the internet is and all of our information being out there, and there's really no way to fully clean it up, especially for us in our age group because we've been on the internet so many years. I think that yeah, that actually is very scary, Susan. And I'm really sorry. I don't like that. Um, Okay, raw umber deep. I don't like that they knew that about you. And I can see why it would have taken you like 5 hours to calm down. I would have felt that way too, especially if that, I mean, not especially, but if that had been a piece of my story. Yes, our age group and up is definitely targeted for sure, for sure. And like I was saying, two people in my life had been scammed with something like similar. um, all right, that's the whole thing swatched. Had been scammed with something similar, and one of them was like a 25-year-old girl that I work with, and she had just had a baby, and she had like baby brain, and she also was like having problems maybe with her husband or something, and she was worried she had forgotten to do something that led to this call, and so she didn't want to like upset her husband more, and she just couldn't deal with it. So she's like, I will pay any amount of money to get this to go away. She like drove herself to the bank and was like crying and asking as she took out money from the bank teller. And the bank teller was like, are you okay? Because she like knew her. We live in a small town. And she's like, yeah, and she's like, how come you're pulling out all this money? Can I ask? And she's like, well, it turns out I didn't do blah, 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 blah. And now they need me to give it to them. She's like, oh, honey, that's a scam. That's a scam. And my friend was just like, you're kidding. And thank God, because she literally would have paid the guy. And then my other person in my life who this happened to, she's like a little older than us, Susan. And she too was like in the middle of some stuff going on in her life and went so far as to go take the money out of the bank and was like about to hand it to the scammer, to the guy who was like going to meet her there. And then all of a sudden, just like something told her, like, no, I need to go talk to my like husband or whatever. So she did. And it was a scam and everything was fine. But so in both cases, the scammers um did not prevail, but they were that close. And you have to imagine how often that's actually happening where people are losing their money and it just scares the poop out of me, you know? Sorry to that one person if you're listening who hates the word poop. Okay. Moving on to happier times. So, okay, I'm going to move away from this topic just for a minute here. Or probably not just for a minute, probably forever. Because thank God it's behind us and thank God, Susan, you did not get scammed and I did not get scammed and these people need our prayer. Moving along. I went to the dentist. Nothing's wrong with my tooth. Anyway, seems like I didn't like floss one part of it very well, so it was like starting to make a little bit of an infection. And so it was like kind of throbbing. Nobody cares. I don't even care. I don't know why I'm telling you this. But that was how my morning started with the throbby tooth. And then it led to like the scam call. And then I was in a super great mood because I was like, well, at least I don't owe this money. And at least I'm not like failing to sign something that, or somebody signed it on my behalf and blah, 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 blah. So let this be a lesson to anyone watching. Pay close attention if you get a call like that. And what I was thinking I would do too, if that happened again, is I would stop him and say, I need you to slow down and talk a lot slower. I need you to tell me all the specific details, dates, times, et cetera, of all this. And then I would be like, I need to be able to call you back at your organization. So can you tell me the name of your police department and what city it's in and everything? And I will look it up and call you back. Give me your badge number and your name. I think that's in my reflecting on it later. I think that's the best thing to do. So anybody listening, if that's what happens, if this happens to you in the future, which it sounds like it's happening to a lot of us, so it probably might, um, stay calm, ask them for those things, and just call them back. You know? You know. All right, guys. Sorry. All right, I got to write on here what this is. Does anyone know what this set is called? Because I sure don't. I think it's like the basic set. I'm looking at the where's the box on the bottom? I have it. Oh, here it is. Oh, it doesn't say anything. It's just a black box. Hold on. I'm going to flip it over, I think, and then we'll see, like, ooh, got to shuffle them in. I'm going to try to shuffle them inside the box so I can, like, flip it and look at the name of this. Oh, boy. Now look what I did, you guys. Like, I couldn't realize that was going to happen. They're all upside down. Okay. This is called the something in Japanese that I can't read. So that's cool. All right. I'm going to just write Kuratake as if I won't know. Kuretake Gansai S. Is it S-A-I? Did I write it in the? I didn't. Is it Gansai? And I think it's Tambi. I'm going to write set number 1. You ordered 12 of the Art Nouveau set and hand selected them to make a custom palette from the marker supply online. Oh, Elizabeth, thank you. I don't know about beautiful, but it does the job. So thank you. That's very nice. So when did you order those? When did you order was that part of the ones you've been using, or is this like a um, recently ordered set? Because yeah, I just ordered the Art Nouveau. I ordered it on Amazon, and if I knew you could hand select them, I might have hand selected them. Marker supply online. Is that, and I always know what you mean when the voice text misspells things. Don't even worry, you don't got to say it. I know you're very capable of spelling. You did a swatch of one of them and the second one. Oh, you haven't done yet on a video. Okay. All right. Because I was like, oh, I didn't know you had the second set. I knew that you had, I think, swatched the first one. I just remember you talking about it. I can't remember if you used them. I know you used them in a painting, and I think I have. Check this out, guys. Talk about internet like to life. Susan, I hope you're not mad. I'm going to give you a second to tell me. Can I show your painting on video, your big one that you sent me? Because I think this is the one that you used the Kuratake with. It is, in fact. I'll just show the back so you know which one it is. It's the Kuratake watercolor on art paper 9x12. Oat art paper, is that what it says? I would love to see one of your portraits done with these paints. Sure, that was the one from the video. That's what I thought. Okay, but I just wanted to be sure if you cared if I showed it. I don't know. All right. That's what I was saying. Okay, so this is Susan's gorgeous work. And this actually shows really well how I'm moving the camera back a little bit, how it can look a little bit like right here. It looks a little bit shiny, but like not bad. And I kind of like these like water marks there. You guys, is it not so beautiful? This girl's talent. Look at the eyes. Literally. And then she's got like this like floral like tattoo, or maybe it's a flower. I couldn't tell, but it's just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Her work is so good. And you look at all the marks and like, oh, she's a great artist. I'm always singing your praises. Everyone probably thinks I'm like in love with you. I love her, but I'm not in love with her. Okay. I gotta show one more. This one is oh, is it like how do I have it on the wall? I have one more of hers that she sent me hanging up. The others are in a little book. This one is like the eyes on this one kill me. They are so good. Like just the watercolor eyes. Susan, do you still love these paintings or no? Yeah, right? Isn't it nice? Aw. I mean, like just this like effect here. It's almost like there's like a droplet of water that just like went in the eye. Just so cool. Beautiful. Ah, that's my friend. She does beautiful work. Okay. Now I think I just pulled it off with a little thing on my wall in a weird way. Okay, it went back on. We're all good. It went back on. So yeah, this is a piece I made like back in 2024, and it had had like a weird jawline, and like the nose was weird, and I just went back and like reactivated the water and reactivated the paint and fixed it. But this isn't Kuratake. But let me show you some that I did do if I have them here with Kuratake. Hang on a second. Do you guys know? Does anyone watching this know? And if anyone watches in the replay, please tell me because I really want to know if these if the yeah, I have pictures of them. The second one is gouache. Oh, what? Which one is gouache? Oh, I found You're So Dumb. I know you didn't mean to write that, LOL. But I know you meant something else. And so I'm just going to let you retype. Take your time. Absolutely no pressure. What was I going to say? Does anybody know if there is anywhere to buy the Kilimanjaro, not the sketchbooks, because I know that they were made by Cheap Joe's and they're not being made anymore since he passed away, but the paper that he used, the Kilimanjaro paper, um, if there's anywhere to buy, if it's still being made, because I've been working through my old sketchbooks, like putting paintings on the back where like I have a lot of pages that just like don't have paintings on them, like, and a couple that I had skipped also. So like, and as I'm using this paper again, I'm finding it's definitely an equal favorite to my Saunders Waterford paper. It's real thirsty, but not so thirsty as like the Bauhong paper. Okay, Susan said, I said iPhone is so dumb, and the second one is gouache paint. It is? Is it gouache? That is amazing. If I could paint with gouache like that, I'd be thrilled. No, dude, it says Daniel Smith watercolor on Winsor and Newton. Unless it's actually Daniel Smith gouache. See? I'm like, I think it is just watercolor, but maybe it's also gouache. It also looks like it's kind of thicker. Like it could be a really opaque watercolor. What do you think? I don't know. What was I gonna say now? I'm totally lost. Oh yeah, if anyone knows ever who either is watching now or later on in the comments where the Kilimanjaro, if it's still being made, um, I would love to know because I would buy it. And another thing I wanted to say, I have a whole list of things I need to say in this live stream. And then I'm gonna go soon. But hold the phone, I gotta find it. You guys, I fleeping do not like this sketchbook at all. It is not good. I am not happy with it. It is the one by don't show my number. No. Just show my I'll have to. Well, we won't make a big point of talking about it. Now people are gonna have okay. Anyway. Um showing things in live streams. There we go. It's the Hanamule 120-pound paper, and I am like really not loving it. Every painting I do on it doesn't turn out. And I don't know. It's like, you know what it is? It's not that the paper is bad. It's just that it can't take the kind of layers I want to use. I want to make a lot of layers and it just won't take all those layers. So that's where it's not good. And I've decided that if I'm going to paint anything like for a video in the future or whatever, I'm only going to use my paper, my Saunders Waterford paper, or my or maybe like this Kilimanjaro paper if I can find it somewhere and it's not expired kind of thing. Or, we'll see, because I'm just not happy with the way the paintings turn out. It's like the paper gets fuzzy after you lay down a few layers, even though it's 100% cotton. It's like, I think it's because it's the thinner paper. It just can't tolerate. And I mean, I maybe used 6 layers and I didn't use a ton of water. So I'm not sure what the prob was, Bob. Wow, I must have gotten it confused with a different one on that same paper. Thankfully, I wrote it down. LOL. Yeah. Well, whatever it had been, I love it. I love the painting. And yeah, thankfully you wrote it down. We wouldn't want to mix it up, but whatever the material, it's gorgeous. Is Waterford similar to Arch? Yeah, it is. It's like a little bit less. It's this paper, actually. This is it. I don't know if you can tell. This is the opposite side, the correct side, quote unquote. Let me bring it up so you can see maybe the texture. If I bring it really close, it's, let me stop moving it. Okay, that's way too close. Sorry, guys. Let's bring it back a little bit. Well, now you can't see anything. I'm gonna keep, the thing is I'm watching the live stream, but it's like a little bit ahead, or I'm sorry, behind. I'm ahead of where it is. So it's got like some texture. Obviously, it's a cold pressed paper and it's very, very nice. You can see that it provides with vivid colors, and these are my Sennelier paints, which don't make the most vivid colors in less than a few layers. These are just 2 layers. And so you can see that it's very, very vivid. And then it just takes a lot of layers, and the paper doesn't get yucky. This is the opposite side. Obviously, you just watched me swatching this, and it still holds up nicely. The blooms and stuff are not the fault of the paints or the paper. It was just me not being cautious with the water. And you can see on the turquoise that it did get shiny, and also a little bit on the hooker's green. So I think, you know what, sometimes with the really transparent colors, they do get shiny. What I've noticed also is that the la 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 la. I've been using a kind of gouache. It's the oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of it. You know, Susan. It's the what the heck is it? Give me a second, I'll think of it. Da Vinci gouache. It's nice, but the colors that are very transparent in watercolor are very transparent in gouache, and they're shiny. So I'm kind of like thinking that some colors are just likelier to be shiny. In fact, look at this, the rose madder, little bit shiny right here in the thicker area. This is a little bit shiny here. Those are the colors in my gouache set, those type of colors, the phthalos and the very pink rosy ones that come out that are super crispy and transparent looking, but come out shiny with the gouache, even in lots of layers. I mean, especially in lots of layers. And I guess with the Da Vinci gouache, what you're supposed to do to make it more opaque is mix a lot of white in with it. It doesn't come already with a lot of opacity to it, and that I guess allows you to determine the opacity for yourself. But I need to learn gouache better before I do that. So that's what led me to go back to the Jesus gouache that Susan had sent me to try. And that is much easier to use. Um, but it also isn't as bright and vivid as like a premium gouache. It's a really affordable brand, but it's also very opaque. So, needless to say, I don't know how we got onto that topic about the shininess, about how it kind of is across different brands and different kinds of paints. Yeah, in the Rose Madder and the Rose Madder Deep, you do see that little bit of shininess, but you just don't see it in the other colors. Even when I layered them on more thickly, like the violet there. I'm sure you would if you got very thick with it, but not without that. All right, guys. So, I want to quick shout out in addition to obviously you guys have all been in here, you know, Susan Creative Ambitions Art, go to her channel. I want to shout out a couple other channels I have here on my little list of things to talk about. One other one is a frequent viewer of this channel of late. She usually is in the live streams, and her name is Kels272 Art. That's the name of her channel, and she makes this really cool like doodly art where the doodles, like you think she's drawing something, it's pen and they're doodles. Susan, you would probably love this channel. Um, it's pen doodles. They're very small, but all together they create texture in the piece and they're absolutely beautiful. So if you're interested in finding new art channels to watch, she's a brand new burgeoning channel. This thing was just like my list of people to talk about. Definitely look up Kelz 272 Art. It's KELZZ 272 ART. She has a new YouTube channel. Okay, another one, somebody else with a newer YouTube channel that really needs a shout out because her work is incredibly beautiful. And Susan, I think you know her. I think you directed me to her channel. It's Ness, NESS hyphen sketchbook. And I would say if you can, if you like mixed media art and watercolor, which I know we all do, if you're watching this video, you would love her channel. Her work is beautiful and she goes into stories and she just makes these really lovely videos. Finally, I don't think she's making videos anymore, but if you want to see somebody that's using gouache, especially and watercolor in a really interesting and creative way, go check out Holly's channel, H Dubs Art. She's part of our little friend group here, and definitely needs to be shouted out. Like I said, she doesn't put out a lot of new content, but she may come back to her channel at some point, and she does sometimes put out shorts, but there's a lot that you can go and watch there that will really, at least it stimulates me creatively. So definitely check that out. And then our friends Ike at Ike is Design, IYKIZ Design, who has an amazing pen and ink channel. He uses all different types of ink, different pens, things of that nature to draw portraits. And they are candid portraits, people on the street, uh, just really beautiful and emotive and just gorgeous work. Definitely go check him out. He's got a newer, not newer, but a smaller channel that's growing, just like all of us. This is a little commercial for everybody. And then Mello, of course, Arts of the Round Table, Arts of the Round Table, AOTRT, Mello, who makes a lot of comic book art, um, graphic style art, um, superheroes, comic books, all of the like the Marvel movies, those characters, and a lot of old school type comic art, of many different genres. He's extremely talented and he's an up and coming artist who could use all of the views. So please go check out his channel. And I think that that is probably all I wanted to say today, you guys. I think I've said it all. So excited that I got to come and talk to you today and visit with you and swatch out these paints. When I get the other set, I'm going to probably do some paintings and put them online. And I have been editing another video for like 2 weeks. Then I was going to put it up this week and then I wanted to do some more work with it. So then I was thinking I would put it up next week. I don't know how much I love the portrait, how it turned out because it's in this. And I don't know. I could show it to you guys and see what you think. You're not going to probably tell me like, oh, it sucks, but this is the portrait. And I'm not making excuses, but the paper really did me dirty on this one. And I just wasn't able to get what I wanted to get out of it. Don't look at this weird floral over here. So you might see the video of this portrait. I think it came out weird. I don't really like it. Maybe I'll do it again, but I don't know. I love the topic I'm talking about in the video. It's about The Chosen. And of course, that's Matthew from The Chosen. So yeah, you can probably maybe tell that. Hopefully you could tell that, even though the portrait came out really weird. I loved the sketch, but I just didn't like how the colors were going down and the paper got fuzzy. And then I didn't want to keep adding layers. So it's a lot less dimensional than I would like it to be. So I'm not really sure what to do. Um, Love the light and shadow depiction. Yes, go ahead and post it. You think? We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. I was thinking, yeah, then I was like, no, I don't know. But I'm just really happy you guys got to visit tonight. And yeah, I hope that you will hang out next week if I'm live, which I suspect I will be. And I hope you have an amazing week. Love the weird floral and the 5 o'clock shadow. All right. Well, we can like that. That was a weird floral. It was cool to start out. The one on the other side didn't work out either. But that's what sketchbooks are for, right? Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Oh, Susan, thanks for the live. Have a good night, everyone. You guys, yeah, have a great night. See you soon. Have a great week too. Bye. Bye, guys.